Now imagine you're minding your business, going to get water, and you come across a guy sitting by a well, and it happens to be the living word of God. Now, if you put some flesh and blood on this and context and understand exactly what's happening here, it doesn't get any better than that. To meet the creator of all that is, the living word of, if you had any idea who you were talking to, you'd ask of me and I would give you living water. I mean, it kind of goes under the, it slips in underneath, and people don't really fully embrace just what's happening here. Take the greatest person that you can think of that matters to you, and imagine that you have a conversation with them. Like you could walk and just stumble upon them and not even know who they actually are. You've heard about them, but oh, you're that guy. All right. Jesus replies to her, "Believe me, dear woman, the time is coming when it will no longer matter." Verse 21, top of the screen. John chapter 4, verse 21. The time is coming when it will no longer matter whether you worship the Father on this mountain or in Jerusalem. You Samaritans know very little about the one you worship, while we Jews know all about him. For salvation comes through the Jews, right? The oracle people of God. But the time is coming, indeed, it's here now, when true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. The Father is looking for those who will worship him that way. For God is spirit, so those who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Look at the woman's reply. The woman said, verse 25, "I know the Messiah is coming, the one who is called Christ. When he comes, he will explain everything to us." So Jesus tells her, "I am the Messiah." Now, verse 25 says here that the woman said, right, "I know the Messiah is coming." Now, that is important, because the Samaritans and the Jews, God's oracle people, they didn't necessarily get along. We know this not because it's my opinion, but because that's what it says. All right. They believed that they should pray in one place and worship in one place. The Jews believed something else. But she was aware of the coming Messiah. Now, the Pharisees and the teachers of religious law, who knew all things about the Father, they knew everything there was to know, deep, long in knowledge, right? You don't want to get into a sword fight with these guys, and by sword I mean the word. Yet they don't know the Son. Remember what Jesus told Nicodemus? I speak to you of earthly things and you don't understand. How can you understand spiritual things? You're a teacher of religious law and you don't understand what I'm talking to you about? That you must be born again? When I talk to you about spiritual rebirth, you can't get any further than the natural birth. How can a man enter into his mother's womb a second time and be born again? You can't pretend to be that ignorant. Yet you stand here twice as ignorant as you should be. I mean, that's really what Jesus is saying to him. Right? He knows nothing of spiritual matters. Oh, he's deep in the word, deep in the legalese, but has not a clue about spiritual things. He must be born again. See, that which is born of the flesh is flesh, but that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Jesus is looking, right, a.k.a. the Father. Well, I shouldn't say a.k.a. because Jesus is not also known as the Father, but he is the Word of God. And as he says here, the Father is looking for those who will worship him in that way, right? In spirit and in truth. Because to worship in spirit and truth means you have to have been regenerated in your spirit, right? So the spirit being, spirit man, spirit woman, spirit boy, spirit girl, right? So the spirit of the living God that takes ownership of you once you submit and invite him in. You must be born again.